The movie is still tracking not that great, frankly. And I know there's debate about this, and we will see, right? We're going to find out in the next couple of weeks. But from where I'm standing right now, the thing's not tracking amazingly. And so what that has created is a situation where there's a whole bunch of people that are going to look at the numbers and say, not good enough, and they need to stop, and gun failed, and all this other stuff. And then you're going to have a whole bunch of other people that are saying, no, the numbers are actually incredible. They're going to keep going. This is a big win. This is crushing it. I don't know how to tell you the truth, especially to those people that are really dug in on those individual camps. But the reality is, as I said at the top of this segment, you're both right. They're going to continue with this shit. Zaslav tripled down the other day. Like, they're just all in on it. And I'm going to talk about a big article that was in the Hollywood Trades that sort of speaks to some of this. We'll talk about the numbers. We'll talk about what Zaslav did, what his peers think of what he did. But make no mistake, Zazzy has said, we're all in on this shit. I don't know what else to tell you. This thing could barely make over $400 million. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it will get to 5. But this thing could barely make over 400, and they're still continuing it. Okay? And so, you know, yeah, I saw Campia did a video on this. People were flaming Campia's take online. He's right. Okay? His take is a correct one. And so you can see how, like, this current situation is so annoying because it feels like two different camps are trying to tell two different stories. And they're both kind of lying about it. Like, the reality of it is, this thing is doing good enough. 100%, that's the phrase. Good enough. Is it crushing? I don't really think so. Is it doing pretty good? Yeah, sure. You could say it's doing pretty good. But the more important thing, because the only reason people in this situation are so fixated on these numbers is because I think they really want to either justify the continuation or say it should not continue based on the numbers. And I'm just telling you right now, and I tried to say this 2 weeks ago. Remember when I actually thought I was going to do NNR again? What was this, like a month ago? I did one episode of NNR. I fucking hated it. It got no views. We shot it in here. It was a big mistake. And yet, a bunch of Snyder bros clipped out a section from that thing that nobody saw. And within that thing, I had said, yeah, this thing does not actually need to make money. And I was right then, and I'm right now. You might not like it. I don't give a fuck, and neither does Warner Brothers. Another data point that nobody's talking about, and I shouldn't say nobody because some people are actually bringing this up, but the other thing that, like, Snyder bros are not willing to acknowledge is that the stock price is up. Warner Brothers itself has gotten shit on for years. Its stock price has taken an absolute fucking beating, and ever since Superman came out, stock price is up. Okay? And why would the stock price, why would the most intelligent market maker motherfuckers like the Wall Street people that, like, why would they think that? Because they clearly see the value. They clearly see the value. Look, I'm sorry, maybe I'm getting a little too upset, but it is fucking annoying because it feels like there's these two camps that just, they can't seem to agree on it. The reality of the situation is this. Considering where the industry's at, good enough is the company line. And on top of that, we actually have information about how they're rolling, what's coming next. And let me just say, too, I'm happy. I'm happy that they're rolling. Man, I haven't been as interested in DC and, like, as willing to check DC stuff out in years. Part of what Warner Brothers is seeing, part of what Wall Street is seeing, is if you build this thing, there's a lot of value that can come in the future. It's a play for the future of DC. And they are locked the fuck in on that, okay? So you can complain about it, or you can listen and just understand what's going to happen, okay? So here we go. I'm over on Variety here. A new day for DC, breaking down Superman salaries, budgets, and more as studio fast-tracks Wonder Woman and it's featured. This is by Tatiana Siegel. She was the lady that broke that huge article that really embarrassed Marvel Studios a couple of years ago, talking about bringing all the OGs back, talking about how they reworked Daredevil Born Again, talking about a lot of stuff. We went over that. It's a good reporter. I'm not going to read the whole thing. There's some stuff she gets into here that I'm not that interested in. However, I think the way she couches it, the way she starts it, it's pretty telling. Ahead of the world premiere of James Gunn's Superman on July 7th, DC Studios co-chief Peter Safran took the stage to thank the most important person seated in the audience. I wasn't there, guys, so it's not me. Warner Bros. Discovery President, CEO David Zaslav. Yeah, he is the most important person in the audience. And they thanked him for your faith and trust in James and me to make this movie to kickstart this new era of DC. In fact, there were only a few echoes of DC past inside the TCL Chinese IMAX theater, including Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor in the long-running series Smallville, Will Reeves, the son of the late Christopher Reeve, and thus ambassador to the Richard Donner Superman O'Vear. Otherwise, the night stood as the dawn of a new beginning for the film franchise that has earned $16.8 billion over 58 films in the box office. That's DC, but has been eclipsed in recent years by the crosstown rival Marvel. But did Gunn, who took the reins in DC with Safran in 2022 and also wrote and produced the film, pull off a franchise jump start? The refrain heard on the Warner Brothers lot in Burbank and around Hollywood was good enough. That's what it is, guys. Like, we could probably stop right now and you would know pretty much what's going on, but we'll get into the details, okay? Accompanied by a sigh of relief that Gunn's movie lifted off to 220 million worldwide, ushering in a 10-year vision for DC. Now, why are they breathing a sigh of relief? And I get it. A lot of people are like, but he's still not beating Man of Steel. Totally get it. This movie has already outgrossed the complete run. I'm talking the worldwide total box office run of the 5 lowest DCEU projects. This Superman has already outgrossed the 5 lowest movies in the catalog, and it hasn't even gotten to weekend 2. That's why they're breathing a sigh of relief. There was some serious concern over there that it was cooked. Okay? Like, oh my God, we're cooked. Because the industry's down, people don't care about these characters, there's too much brand damage, the genre's been hurt, etc., etc. So again, good enough and a sigh of relief. That's a low bar. You're not wrong. I'm telling you what the people in Hollywood are saying, dude. Like, it's fine. You can sit back and be like, that's silly. I'm telling you what they are saying. Zaslav took a victory lap before the ink was dry on the weekend's box office numbers. We talked about this, right? Then he doubled down the following day, calling the performance soaring, just the first step. But his posture struck many in town as odd and premature, given that the CEO rarely weighs in on public publicity about the film's opening weekend. Domestically, Superman stuck the landing, but international numbers are disappointing, says box office analyst Jeff Bach of Exhibitor Relations of the $95 million overseas haul. For Superman to be one of the biggest summer blockbusters, not to mention reset of an entire universe, the film needed to pack more punch in its debut. Obviously, the following weeks will tell the true box office tale, but this has to be viewed as slightly underwhelming start for DC and for Warner Brothers. So, are we able to process all of this together? Can you hold multiple ideas inside your brain parts at the same time? So, Zaslav is all in. He took a victory lap before the ink was dry on the numbers, and then he doubled down on it the following day. People in Hollywood are a little surprised at this. They view it as an underwhelming start, and that's why they're surprised about it. Okay? So, like, does this make sense to you? Like, so there's a whole bunch of people in Hollywood that are like, I don't know about this, but the most important person, the person that's literally making these calls, he's all in. Okay? Now let's keep going here. More importantly, Wall Street is feeling good about the bow. Warner Bros. Discovery stock jumped 2.4% from 11.73 the close of July 11th to 12.01 by the end of day on July 4th. Wall Street analyst Dave Ives of Wedbush Securities calls the film's performance very impressive domestically and a huge boost for the franchise given some worries coming in. He adds, the international is a mixed, but overall an A- weekend for Superman. So, real quick, I mean, this is obviously what's going on. International, super soft. Not really sure what's going on there. They absolutely need to address that. DCU overall needs more international appeal. A lot of people think it might be just because Superman is so American. Instead, sources say the studio is fast-tracking a Wonder Woman movie instead of a direct sequel to Superman, by the way. Studio is thrilled with Matt Reeves' just submitted screenplay, the draft for the sequel to The Batman. Good enough is the company line. That is what Zaslav is saying. That is what Warner Brothers is sticking to. James Gunn yesterday released the first look at Supergirl. The poster, you know, with the spray paint, the bloody hand, maybe it's spray paint hand. So they're going full steam ahead. Now, according to Tatiana here, there is some pushback in the town. The town doesn't necessarily get it, but it doesn't matter. The town doesn't control Zaslav, obviously. Zaslav's all in. They are fast-tracking a Wonder Woman movie. Now, this is actually kind of interesting. Okay, this is actually kind of interesting to me. I believe this probably speaks to the fact that they're not going to do two Batman at once. It is possible that Matt Reeves' The Batman is the DCU Batman, but even still, it doesn't feel like the second movie is like really directly connected to this. And I want to show you something in a second. We'll get into more Batman stuff in a second here because there's an Easter egg in Superman that people found that's really crazy. Okay, so they're fast-tracking Wonder Woman. They need bigger characters. Remember, Zaslav said this in his Double Down before Gunn even said it. Zaslav said it. Kind of means like Zaslav's like, no, you're going for big characters. Totally makes sense. So you have Supergirl, Clayface, and Lanterns. Okay? I'm really not feeling super confident about that lineup. I think Wonder Woman helps that lineup a lot. I think the Batman Part 2 will do numbers and will help DC. If they can work it out so that Batman is in the DCU, then they're off to the races. If not, which it's kind of seeming like maybe it's not, they need to cook with their Batman as fast as possible. So they need to get Matt's movie out. I think Wonder Woman coming into the picture could save them a little time. And then they need Batman, they need Justice League, they need World's Finest, they need big as fast as possible. But that's the news out there. They're very happy with Batman's 2 script. They're fast-tracking Wonder Woman. They're not doing a Superman sequel, which is interesting, but I think that's probably the move. I mean, especially you look at these international markets, right? Like, if I were them, I might just be like, Superman is not going to work on his own. He might work better in other movies. And then you'd start tying the Justice League together and all that sort of stuff, right? We shall see, but that's the basic plan, and that's the fact that they've doubled down, right? So Zaslav has made, I think 3 statements at this point. Gunn is talking out there a lot this week, right? They're doing a lot of press. This is Tatiana Siegel, incredible reporter for the Hollywood Trades, dropping some knowledge here. Good enough. Industry pushback. Zaslav doesn't care. Wonder Woman movie being fast-tracked. Batman Part 2 is dope. That's the updates. What do you guys think about that? What do you think?